Everyone, fall is upon us. It's arrived. So this week I'm going to be talking about my favorite games to play during what could be possibly the most beautiful season to ever grace this planet, and that is fall. So for those of you who came here expecting me to talk about a bunch of horror games to prep you for Halloween, you came to the wrong place. I'm sorry. So instead I'm going to talk about games that just kind of encapsulate or maybe emphasize the mood that I get from this beautiful season. So though I love Halloween and I love playing games and watching movies that emphasize that holiday, I equally look forward to the season of cool air and leaves and moody, spooky stuff that just kind of surrounds the season as a whole. So the first game that comes to my mind every single year when the leaves begin to fall and cover the concrete is Half-Life 2. So all the way to the opening, and it's kind of European-esque style vibe when you're just kind of taking baby dolls and smashing them into guards' faces and playing with playground stuff. It just kind of encapsulates that beautiful fall vibe. And then, of course, Ravenholm is a spooktacular fest all of itself. Speaking of environments I just want to wander around, the second game I often think about when the season comes around is The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. So again, it's a game that kind of has this very fall vibe, but just, it's one of those things where like I just kind of like to start it, wander maybe to the first bridge, look out to the water, look at this fake environment, and then stop. And that's it. For those of you who don't know what Vanishing of Ethan Carter is, it's kind of part walking simulator and then part puzzle adventure game where you play as a detective that goes to an island in Poland, I think it's a Polish island, investigating the vanishing of this boy named Ethan Carter. The next game is Bloodborne. So Bloodborne doesn't necessarily take place in any season from what I can tell, but I would say this game kind of just leans into embracing some of my spooky, most favorite kind of elements I've ever seen in video games. Just its horrifying Victorian Gothic vibe is just so beautiful, and it's a game that frankly I could play year round, but for whatever reason it just kind of tickles that itch in the fall when things start to get a little bit more spooky and Halloween is on the horizon. It's just an atmosphere and mood that just gets me excited. And then the last game on this list is a little game called Silvio. Silvio is a psychological horror game, but where atmosphere is first and foremost front and center. It is not a boo jump scare game by any means. This game that kind of just has this mood and setting that kind of lingers with you. And in Silvio, you play as a girl named Juliet who gets her hands on an old tape deck recording system, and her bright idea is to go into an old abandoned park where she wants to try and capture ghost recordings. When you do capture those recordings, you have to reverse and fast forward and play backwards and forwards to decipher ghost speak, which then overall tells a bigger, grander tale. A lot of its charm comes from a lot of its flaws, but this is a game that I've just been obsessing over for the past year. I guess I just like moody games. I just think when the fall comes around, I just want to play games that just kind of, I want to sink into. I just kind of want to calmly wander around. And I think all these games, though some of them are not calm, just kind of put me at ease, kind of like the season. And I guess maybe that's the comparison that, that I'm choosing with these games. But if you haven't played Silvio, I can't recommend that game enough. In fact, the sequel, Silvio 2, just came out this past Wednesday, October 11th, a game in which I'm going to be reviewing, so be on the lookout for the next week or so for a review for Silvio 2 from me. If there's any kind of, moody games that you just like to play that just sink into, doesn't have to be relevant to fall or not, but any season for that matter, that kind of just, when you think of a season, you think of a specific game, I would love to know what it is. So let me know in the thing where people, express their views and opinions below. Anyways, thank you all so much. You're great peeps. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for doing all the things you do. Goodbye.